How did Mario Bautista pull off a huge win over UFC legend Jose Aldo? In this video, we'll dive deep into Mario Bautista's strategy that helped him defeat one of the all-time greats, Jose Aldo. Did Bautista have the perfect defense, or was there something else at play? We'll go through the pivotal moments of the fight where Bautista's defense and counterattack shined, showing why he walked away with the win. We'll discuss what this fight means for the trajectory of both fighters' careers. Stay tuned as we break down every key moment in this epic bout. All the information in this video comes directly from the official UFC website, ensuring that the details are accurate and up to date. Mario Bautista's game plan going into his fight against UFC Hall of Famer Jose Aldo at UFC 307 was simple but effective. Stay active, keep constant movement, and use wrestling to wear Aldo down. Recognizing the challenge of taking on a fighter as experienced and skilled as Aldo, Bautista knew he couldn't rely on a traditional striking battle. Instead, he focused on grappling and controlling Aldo, particularly against the fence, using a strategy sometimes referred to as wall and stall. This approach frustrated both Aldo and the fans, who were quick to boo Bautista for avoiding the back-and-forth exchanges they had hoped to see. In his post-fight interview with UFC commentator Joe Rogan, Bautista explained that his plan from the start was to avoid getting into a striking war with Aldo, who is known for his powerful kicks and punches. Bautista said, "My game plan was to keep a lot of movement, stay active, and wrestle when I can." He knew that taking Aldo down would be difficult, as Aldo has solid takedown defense, but Bautista was determined to stick to his plan. Bautista's game plan relied heavily on controlling Aldo and limiting his opportunities to strike. By pressing Aldo against the cage, Bautista was able to minimize the time spent in dangerous striking exchanges. Aldo's fans and some critics labeled this as a boring tactic, but Bautista remained unapologetic, saying, "He didn't get off the cage, that's not my problem." For Bautista, the goal was clear. He was there to win, not to entertain, and he executed his strategy accordingly. While Aldo's star power had much of the crowd rooting for him, Bautista stuck to his plan and didn't allow the pressure of the audience or Aldo's legacy to shake his focus. By maintaining control, Bautista was able to wear down the 39-year-old veteran, making Aldo less effective as the fight progressed. Bautista's game plan also highlighted his wrestling background. As a former high school wrestler, he used his grappling skills to dictate where the fight took place. Even though he wasn't always successful in completing takedowns, the constant pressure of trying to bring Aldo to the mat took its toll on Aldo's stamina. This strategy of persistence, even in the face of failed takedown attempts, was a key part of Bautista's approach, as it allowed him to keep the fight on his terms. From the outset, Bautista knew that standing and trading strikes with Aldo would be a dangerous strategy. Aldo's striking has been his trademark throughout his career, and getting into a back-and-forth battle could have left Bautista vulnerable to Aldo's powerful punches and leg kicks. Instead, Bautista employed a strategy that focused on controlling the fight through grappling and clinch work, limiting the opportunities for Aldo to showcase his striking prowess. By keeping Aldo against the cage and engaging in grappling exchanges, Bautista effectively wore down the Brazilian veteran. Aldo's striking depends heavily on his ability to move freely and create angles, but Bautista's game plan forced Aldo to defend rather than attack. Aldo's experience undoubtedly helped him in surviving these grappling situations, but Bautista's relentless pressure ensured that Aldo was on the defensive for much of the fight, preventing him from using his offensive weapons effectively. Another important factor was Bautista's conditioning. Aldo, now 39 years old, is still a dangerous fighter, but his stamina has been called into question in the later rounds of recent fights. Bautista, aware of this, kept up a high pace throughout the bout, forcing Aldo to work hard defending takedowns and grappling exchanges. By the later stages of the fight, Aldo was visibly slower, and Bautista's ability to maintain his energy gave him the advantage. Aldo's power and experience were less effective when he was tired, and Bautista took full advantage of this, securing key moments in the final rounds to sway the judges in his favor. In the post-fight interview, Bautista reflected on his performance, stating that he had to do what he had to do to get the win. This comment underscores Bautista's understanding that fighting a legend like Aldo required more than just skill. It required discipline and a well-executed game plan. The outcome of Mario Bautista's split decision victory over UFC Hall of Famer Jose Aldo at UFC 307 has significant implications for both fighters as they move forward in their careers. For Bautista, this win represents a major milestone, while for Aldo, it raises questions about what his next steps in the sport will be, given his age and legacy. For Mario Bautista, this victory over Aldo is undoubtedly the biggest of his career. Aldo is a UFC legend, and defeating someone of his stature marks a new level of recognition for Bautista. This win extends Bautista's UFC win streak to 7, which is an impressive feat in the highly competitive bantamweight division. More importantly, it places him in the top 10 of the UFC's bantamweight rankings, securing his spot as one of the division's rising stars. Beating a fighter like Aldo puts Bautista in a prime position to take on higher-ranked opponents and potentially contend for a title shot in the near future. His ability to execute a disciplined game plan against such a seasoned fighter shows that Bautista is capable of competing at the highest levels of the sport. Moving forward, the UFC will likely match him up against tougher competition, giving him the opportunity to prove that his win over Aldo was no fluke. On the other hand, this loss raises questions about what's next for Jose Aldo. Aldo's career is already legendary. He's one of the greatest featherweight champions in UFC history and has consistently fought the best of the best throughout his time in the octagon. However, at 39 years old, Aldo's future in the sport is uncertain. While Aldo's experience and skills still make him a dangerous opponent, his performance in this fight showed that he's no longer as dominant as he once was. His inability to deal with Bautista's constant pressure and grappling indicates that his athleticism and stamina may be fading, which is a natural part of aging in a sport as demanding as MMA. Aldo's legacy is already secure, but continuing to fight and taking losses to younger, rising fighters like Bautista could tarnish that legacy in the eyes of some fans. It's clear that he would need to carefully consider his future opponents and whether it's worth continuing to fight in a division that is only getting younger and more competitive. If Aldo decides to retire, he would leave the sport as one of the most respected and accomplished fighters in MMA history. In the end, Mario Bautista's win over Jose Aldo is a huge moment for both fighters. Bautista's victory puts him on the map as a serious contender, while Aldo faces some tough decisions about his future. What's next for Bautista? Can he keep climbing the ranks, and will Aldo step away, or does he still have more fight left in him? There's a lot more to come, so stay tuned for updates. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the latest news, fight breakdowns, and reactions. It's only getting more exciting from here.